Welcome to the High Performance Gym, the personal and business development podcast for health coaches and personal trainers. My name is Keir, former personal trainer and gym owner turned high performance coach and lifestyle entrepreneur. My mission is to help coaches develop their entrepreneurial qualities and the business to create a freedom-focused lifestyle. I believe we all have a uniqueness that we need to unleash to achieve this, and this is your genius. Each week I'll be bringing you an inspiring person or message to help you perform at a higher level so you can become a confident and resilient coach to build the business of your dreams. So thanks for tuning in today, and I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to today's episode of the High Performance Gym. So thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning into these episodes. I really do appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you being here. And if there's any way that you feel that I can improve the program and improve the podcast, the show, then please feel free to reach out and let me know, because I just want this to add as much value to personal trainers as I can, because I know how difficult it is, especially when you first get into it, and then when you find yourself maybe a little bit directionless and where to go. And that's what I want this for. I want this to kind of help people to really develop themselves and develop the businesses. And today's episode is no exception. And because what I'm actually going to do today, I'm going to take you through a little bit of a journey. So this is for somebody who is maybe just starting off, but you can also look at this as somebody who is looking to explore different avenues of where they're going. Okay, because what I see a lot of is people are getting into personal training, but what they're doing is they're just training people, just getting into it. They don't really have much direction. And like with any career or any business, you've got to have some form of direction. You've got to have that way of where you're going to go. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what the purpose is, as opposed to saying, okay, well, for the next 40 years, I'm just going to work. That is directionless. That is just passing the time by. But if you're doing this, then there should be a purpose for it. You obviously do it because you enjoy it. Then you enjoy helping people, so make something of it. Have that, make it into something that's going to really give you back purpose in life. And that's what that is. So let's jump into it. How to get your first 15 clients as an offline personal trainer. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of a journey now. So let's just imagine now, you've just been awarded that all-important certificate. Now you're ready to be unleashed into the world as a personal trainer. Now you're going to be living your dream as a personal trainer. But are you ready? Because the truth is, most aren't actually ready, because, the personal training qualification is very much basic. You're kind of left with more questions than you are answers. Where do you start? How do you get clients? Why doesn't the certificate help me grow my business or start my business? Like, I know I've been there. The certification has one job, and this is just to kind of allow you to practice craft, so you can be in shoes. So then you can go and you can start working with people. That's kind of what it does. You're ticking boxes, but then you're kind of thrown out into the real world, and with no direction. You don't know where you've got to go. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and it's difficult. And this is not really something that I agree with. I think there should be so much more business development involved with the personal training qualification. You're essentially starting your own business. You're essentially starting, or your own career, whatever that you're doing with it. So there should be something that gives you direction, that gives you that ongoing support, that helps you get through it. But today we're going to talk about how you can get your first 15 clients. Okay, I know this sounds like a little bit of a random number, but bear with us, because there's a little bit of method even behind the madness. So now I want to imagine you've got the certificate in one hand, but then on the other hand you have nothing there. This is your guiding hand, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take a hold of your hand, and I'm going to take you through this journey. Okay, the first thing that we need to be able to do, this is across the board of any business, by the way, it's getting some clarity. Getting clarity on what you need to be doing. Getting clarity on, and this is where a lot of people go wrong, because what they do is they absorb themselves in the role of a personal trainer, but they fail to identify the problem that they solve. Like, you are a problem solver, you're a coach, you're a trainer, you're essentially a business owner as well. If you're self-employed, then you are responsible for your income. You have to be able to solve problems. That is what you are. And if you don't know what the problem is that you solved, then you're going to kind of struggle a little bit. Think of it this way. Think of like a lawyer. If you think of a lawyer, and you might just think of someone as being a lawyer, but when you actually look closer into it, for whatever reason you've used a lawyer, then you know that it specialises in different areas of law. Whether that's a family lawyer, an estate planning lawyer, a personal injury lawyer, a business lawyer, the list goes on. But like, imagine you get sued for everything that you own. You've done a big mistake or whatever it is. Let's hope to God this never happens. But just bear with me here. Your house could be taken away, your family could be left homeless. Like, who would you turn to? Your cousin Vinny, who, although a qualified lawyer, doesn't specialise in a particular area. He just kind of minces around and works with whoever is willing to pay him a fee. Or would you use a specialised lawyer dealing with these particular lawsuits? Like, you're going to go with that specialised lawyer, right? Because you know that he's going to get you, or she is going to get you the best result. Again, there's no guarantee of the result, but you're always going to go with someone who knows that area. And your business and your coaching is no different. This is what a lot of trainers do. They just go in, and I'm just a personal trainer. And if you're doing that, then you are no different than anybody else. But if you are specific with the problem that you solve, you become to understand this problem more. You become an expert at solving this problem. All right? It doesn't need to be too specific to begin with, but like, have an idea of where you want to go. I mean, even just like as a broad sort of spectrum here, you could work with people on performance, like athletes in performance. You could work with weight loss. You could work with just health in general. You could work with injuries. That would be a broad spectrum. Have an interest of where you want to be then, because then you can get a little bit more specific. And this way you can lead with what you do. Yeah? And when you're talking to people, you can lead with the actual problem that you solve. So, for example, imagine you just meet someone for the very first time and someone says, "Oh, what do you do?" And you're like, "I'm a personal trainer." Like, it means nothing to most people. Now, they'll probably say, "That sounds interesting," which, by the way, translates to, "That's not interesting." Yeah? But instead, you lead with the problem that you solve. So the personal trainer is just a title. Okay? The personal trainer is like a lawyer is just a title. Yeah, and if someone says, "Well, I'm just a lawyer," it's like, "Oh, okay, you're a lawyer, great." But if they lead with the problem that they solve, then they start to create curiosity for the person who's asking. So imagine, I'll give you a few examples. So let's just say, someone says, "Oh, what do you do?" And now you don't lead with the title, you lead with the problem. "Oh, I'm a coach and I help over 40s lose weight and regain their strength and confidence without restrictive diets." Like, anyone who's listening to that's like, "Oh, right, awesome." They know what you're talking about. Maybe they're over 40 and they need your help. Okay? Or, "I'm a coach, I help women over 50 reverse the symptoms of menopause and feel amazing again without medication or insane diets." Yeah? Because you're mentioning these things, women over 50, menopause, that gives you areas that you can go and research for a start, but anybody talking to you, they don't understand what you're talking about, and they understand that you may be talking to them, or they know somebody else who you could help. And then here's another one. "No, I'm a coach and I help athletes enhance their power, speed and agility without the risk of injury." So people who are athletes are going to be attracted to what you talk about, because you were talking about something that they want, and that the problem they have, they want to get speed, agility and power, but they don't want to get injured. And you're saying, well, you do that without the risk of injury. So you're helping them. You help solving the problem. Here's another one. "I'm a coach and I help postnatal women regain their body confidence and strength without feeling nervous about exercising again." Can you see how this becomes more specific now? I am a coach and I help postnatal women, okay, regain their body confidence, because that's something that happens when a lot of women, when they give birth, they lose their body confidence. But if you can tell them, I'll help them regain the confidence and your strength without feeling nervous about exercising again, this way you've kind of switched your focus and attention to one particular area or problem. Now you can start talking about the problem you solve, instead of just saying, "Well, I'm a personal trainer." "Awesome, what do you do?" "Well, I help people lose weight." Great. That's exciting. But if you start telling people the things that you actually do, then this is game changing. So, and those who are interested will listen. Those who are not interested won't listen. It's that simple. Which then brings us to our next stop. Okay. So now we understand the problem that was solved. This is what we've decided on. Now, next stop is the gym, because remember, this is offline. You can follow these principles online as well, but I want to just highlight this with the offline side of it, because I know, just from my local community as well, that this is a big problem, and I want to help people. I want to help people in the gym environment start getting clients in, and offline clients as well. Of course I do. So which brings us to our next step. So it brings us to the gym, okay? Here's where it can get really interesting, because unlike years ago where there was only kind of a few gyms, now there's an abundance of gyms. Like, there's gyms everywhere. Every street corner there's another flipping gym. There's gyms everywhere. But even the smallest of towns boast several gyms. But this is actually a good thing for you, because this gives you options. You can choose to be specific, or you can choose to be a little bit more diverse. Now, let me give you an example here, okay? So a CrossFit gym, for example, is very specific, and they attract a certain type of person. Yeah, so here you're going to find a more competitive person who cares about physical performance. Yeah, there's a key emphasis there on physical performance. Now, I'm not saying that everybody in there will have the same desires, okay? Some people might be there for weight loss. And I'll explain this a little bit more as we go through it. But, if we're just looking at it from the face value, then it attracts a more athletic type of person. People who want to be physically challenged in a performance capacity, yeah? But then if we look at a commercial gym, yeah, then this is a bit more generalized set of members. So here you're going to find like a varied range of clientele, from the average Joe wanting to lose a little bit of weight to elderly people keeping on top of the fitness game. You're going to get a more diverse group of people. And that's what I mean by, you want to be more specific. So you want to work with a more athletic population, then choose an athletic gym, like to go on and work in. Or if you want a bit more diversity in terms of you want to focus on maybe people with weight loss and these types of things, and maybe more of a commercial facility. But the question that I challenge you with would be, which place are you most likely to find your ideal client? Okay, we need to find this place where your ideal client hangs out. So let's say there's 3 types of gyms in your area. Let's just say there's a CrossFit gym, a bodybuilding gym, and there's a commercial gym. Okay, just to keep things really simple. And you decided that you want to work with postnatal women, as the example that I just gave you earlier. Where are you most likely to find this person? Yeah? So this is where you need to do a little research. This is why if you go into each place and work out and look around and observe what type of people are coming through the door. If you're in a bodybuilding gym, now anybody who bodybuilds, please don't take any disrespect to this, but I'm just trying to use a really big example here. Okay? Like I'm maybe being a little bit stereotypical, but if you're kind of in a bodybuilding gym and it's just up gorillas walking in with tight vests, then it's probably not going to be the right place to find a woman who has just previously given birth, who wants to get back into shape and she feels nervous. Now, I'm not saying these people will not be in that gym. My point is the chances are it's going to be very rare. Then if you go to a gym like a CrossFit gym, it's full of competitive athletes, again, it doesn't mean that they won't be here, but the chances are there's not going to be a lot of those types of clients there. Yeah. But now let's say you go to a commercial place and there's a range of people in there. The chances are you can hone down on your specific target. So what you'll probably notice is a few women coming in and they're working out. The odds are you have a better chance of actually finding that ideal client. Yeah. So you got to get in the place where, what I'm trying to kind of get with this is you want to get into the place where the chances of, or that your ideal client hangs out there. Like say you want to work with athletes and there's a local strength and conditioning gym. That is going to be the best place you can go because your clients are going to be in there. This is the thing, when you're online, you've got to get yourself into places. You've got to push yourself out there and you've got to explore different areas. And you've got to do the same offline. But here's the beauty of offline. Like offline, if you go into a gym and when you go into somewhere specific with your ideal clients, you're surrounded by clients. You're surrounded by these people who you can talk to all day and every day. That is what's amazing about it. But this is what trainers are not doing. They put themselves in the gym environment, but they're not talking to the right people. Okay, this is why they really struggle. So this kind of brings us to our next stop. Start talking to your ideal client. Yeah. So let's say you've identified now your ideal client hangs out. Okay, so you now approach the gym and ask if you can either A, rent some space, B, work some hours for them, or, C, a combination of both. Basically what you want to be able to do now is get into that space. And, you have to either pay them rent or you have to work some hours for them, whatever that is, to get you through the doors so you can then start talking to your ideal clients. So when you're looking at this, when you're going into a gym, don't look at it as, I've got to pay this guy money or this blah, 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 whatever it is. It's like they're giving you an opportunity to go and talk to your ideal client. And this is what I mean. You got opportunity. You got so much opportunity if you look at it the right way. Yeah. So either way you think of this entry, it doesn't matter. It's just you got to look at this as an opportunity to get in there and start talking to your client. Once you're inside, then you can start talking to people and helping them out for free. Yes, for free. And this bit is very important because what most trainers do is they hold the status of personal trainer, PT, and expect people to approach them and ask them for help. This is like an ego thing. But yeah, it doesn't work. Like, you've got to drop the ego. No one cares that you're a personal trainer. Like, seriously, nobody cares. Like, in my early days, I remember thinking, wow, now I'm a personal trainer. Like, people are going to come knocking on my door and they're going to ask for help. And this doesn't happen. This just doesn't happen. Yes, you might get a few people because they find out what you do and they start asking you questions. But don't rely on this. Like, don't rely on your status just because you're a personal trainer to get clients, because you will struggle. You absolutely will struggle. You must go out and you must help people. Like, this is the biggest thing. Even if you get through this whole podcast and you take one thing away from it, take this away from it. You must go out and you must help people. Let them know you care and give them advice for free. Now, there's a difference between giving all your time away and giving them advice for free. That is the difference. You're not giving all of your sessions away. You're not saying, well, I'll train you for free for the next 6 weeks. And then you've got loads of clients who you train for free, because that's not good for you or your client. What you're doing here is you're giving advice for free. You're talking to every single person who walks through the gym door and you get to know them personally. Like, everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. You talk to them and you get to know them personally. When I had my gym, like, I knew every single one of our members' names. I knew the jobs, I knew the kids' names, and I even knew what they like to do in the spare time. I just got to know everything I could about them, because this builds up likability and trust. It means that you are approachable and people feel at ease coming for you for advice. Like, developing relationships should be your number one priority to build your reputation. I can't emphasize this enough. A good business is built on reputation. It's not built on how many clients you can get through the door. Because the better reputation you can build through building relationships, the more clients over time you will get through your door. But people are just so focused, right? I'm qualified now. I need 20 clients. I need 30 clients. It's like, get one. Work with one client and be the best at solving that person's problem. Then guess what happens? You develop in relationships. People start coming to you for advice. But now you're probably kind of thinking, well, what's this got to do with your ideal client? Well, let's just stay on track with the above example of you are working with postnatal mothers. Yeah, that's the area that you want to go into. You want to help them lose weight and gain back their confidence. Okay, this gives you an opening statement when you talk to people. So think of it this way, right? A new member, Jessica, I'm going to take you a little bit of a scenario now. So new member Jessica walks into the gym. Yeah, you're the first one to meet Jessica, and you introduce yourself with your opening statement. Hi, Jessica. My name is insert name. I'm a coach here and I help postnatal women regain their body confidence and strength without feeling nervous about exercising again. Straight away, Jessica knows immediately what you do. Yeah, and it just so happens Jessica is a postnatal mother. Yeah, she is now going to be asking you questions and you are going to be giving her your best advice. You can demonstrate exercises to her in the gym. You can say, no, these are the do's and don'ts of postnatal exercising for women. Then she's going to ask you questions and you're like, wow, I'm going to go away and research that. What I'll do is I'll go away and research it. I'll come back and I'll give you the answer. You're building up you're building up your relationship here. This is what you're doing. You're building up a relationship with Jessica. And what you're doing is you're giving her the best advice. She then starts to like you and trust you. Now, before you might thinking, well, should I just talk to Jessica? Like, no, you talk to everybody in the gym. You still talk to everybody in the gym, but you're helping Jessica specifically because that is a problem that you help with. Yeah. you will get loads of other people asking you questions. Once somebody sees you talking to someone and you're giving them good advice, regardless if that's your ideal client, people are still going to come and ask you for advice, and they're still going to ask you questions. But what you are focusing on specifically is Jessica, because you know you can help solve Jessica's problem. And then what happens is the days kind of pass, the weeks pass by, Jessica then approaches you one day and asks, can you be my coach? Because she understands that the next level for her to get results is working with a coach. You just landed your very first ideal client. Hi, just Keir here, jumping in real quick. Let me ask you a quick question. Are you serious about building and growing a personal training or a health coaching business? Because if you are, then I have a free gift for you. See, the biggest thing that holds people back is the mindset. It's the limiting beliefs. It's the self-doubt. It's these things that really get into your head and then stop you from progressing forward. It's self-sabotage. Now I have a free gift. It's 7 mindset blocks stopping you from getting clients. In here, I'm going to give you the 3 biggest things you need to develop a successful business. Confidence, clarity, which in the end is going to bring you clients. Clients are the lifeblood of your business. So if you want to get this sorted now, then download my free guide. The link is in the show notes. Then you start listening with intent to Jessica's problems. This gives you avenues of research. So she's kind of coming up with all these things. I'm having this problem, I'm getting this pain. You're like, wow, I've never thought of that. I'm going to go and research that. I'm going to go away and I'm going to figure that out. You come back out and you solve Jessica's problem. Jessica's absolutely blown away by the actual help that you're giving her. And you're not just giving her the generic, eat this, eat that, exercise this way. You're giving her things to do on the outside world. You're checking up on her on a daily basis. How's things going? What are you struggling with in a minute? What can I help you with? Yeah. And then with all the content with all the things that she's coming back with you, this is giving you content for your social media. What you're putting out there is what she's having this problem and you're solving that problem, and then you're putting that out on social media. I'm not saying that you're putting Jessica out on social media. You're highlighting the problem that you've solved and you're putting out this on social media. Guess what? Other people see that and they see what problem that you're solving. Yeah. Because the problems that Jessica is facing, many other women will be experiencing the exact same problems. And here you're showing them exactly how you know how to solve them. Yeah, you're showing people that you know how to solve this problem. 8 weeks pass and Jessica is in the best shape of her life. She is physically and mentally in the best shape she's ever been in her entire life. You have put your heart and soul in helping her get, and it's paid off. You've gone above and beyond to get Jessica the results that she wants. You've done everything. Blood, sweat and tears have gone into getting her the best results. And Jessica is absolutely ecstatic and she can't thank you enough. So you ask her for a testimonial. She gives you a glowing reference, and out of this you gain another 2 clients. Just like Jessica. Okay, that's the beauty of it, okay? Because you got such a great result with Jessica, who's a postnatal mum, her testimonial is going to be based on that. You're going to use that testimonial, and then other mothers are going to look at that and think, I need to go and work with this person. Yeah. Now let's just go off the assumption that we're going to get 2 testimonials. You can think of this as like an average thing. If you put a great testimonial out there, you're going to get at least 1 client. Okay. Chances are you're going to get 2. So you may get more, but let's just say we're going to go with 2, just to kind of keep the numbers simple. Right, so if you get another 2 clients, just like Jessica, you already know how to solve their problems. Because the thing is, the power with testimonials multiplies. So by getting 1 testimonial, yeah, you will gain that. So if you gain like an average of 2 testimonials from 1, if you gain 2 clients from 1 great testimonial, then that is going to multiply. Social proof is like the best method for selling your service. Helping people solve a problem and showing them how you can do it, but actually having that social proof to say, look, I've worked with this person and this is the results that I've got. It's amazing. Yeah. And then what happens is you get 2 new clients. You get the exact same, even better results with these new two new clients. Then you have 2 more testimonials. Then 2 more testimonials bring you 4 more clients. Can you see how this is kind of multiplying now? But with every client that you work with, you get better and you get better. You get better at solving a specific problem. You're not being generic and trying to help everybody. Of course, you can give everybody advice. You can. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to be working with other people. The point is here, you're getting specific with the problem that you solve. and you focus on intently on solving that problem. All you talk about is a problem that you solve. All you do is help people solve that problem. Then, those 4 testimonials turn into 8, and now you're building momentum. Like, all in all, you've coached 7 clients who you've got results with, and now you've got another 8 clients on your books. This is how it works. Like, this is how coaches go into it and they think, well, I need 20 clients, or I need 50 clients. It's like you get too focused on having clients into your business and you're relying on that income every month. And this is not the best way to do it, because you don't want clients for life. If you've got clients for life, then you're not solving a problem. The best thing you can do is say, okay, I'm going to work with you for X amount of weeks. We're going to get amazing results, right? Now, you might not get results with that person 8 weeks, so then you extend it for another 8 weeks, whatever it is, but you're giving people a time frame. You're not just saying, it's okay, it's X amount of pound a month, and this is what we're going to do. Because then all you're focused on is that monthly payment. Which you want to be focused on is the result that you can get. Because if you get that result, you're going to get better clients into your business. Yeah? That's how it works, because you get so good at getting results that the level of the clientele that you bring into your business gets higher. You can charge more money because you get so good at solving this result. And that's the thing, like, a lot of trainers are really tied with money. They're charging like £25 an hour and they won't charge anymore because they're just working with everybody, like anyone and everyone. But if you get really specific, you can get so good in that area, then you can start really pushing your prices up and getting more money, which ultimately has to be a focus of your business. Helping people, of course, is the sole focus. You want to help people, but you know what? You've got to sustain your lifestyle. Do you want to be working 40 hours for the rest of your life, getting a crappy wage? Why do you want to do that? Why just may as well just go and work for somebody? If you're going to be self-employed, you've got a business, you have to get the rewards. So you have to get exceptionally good at what you do. Yeah. So basically what happens is then you become the busiest PT in the gym because you are solving this problem, and you become known for what you do. You become known for helping women lose weight, get confident after postnatal pregnancy, after they've given birth. Yeah. And this is all because you had a strategy. You didn't go all guns blazing trying to work with everyone that showed a little bit of interest in you. Getting desperate and just, wow, please come work with me. You focused on solving a problem. You were purposeful and you were patient, because this is the thing. You've got to be patient. You can't just go in somewhere and expect to have 100 clients. You've got to be patient. You've got to build it up. You've got to build that reputation. You've got to build relationships. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But now everybody in the gym, I mean, this could be 3, 4, 5, 6, it could be 12 months down the line. Yeah. The point is it grows. It grows. The momentum builds. Think of it as a snowball going down the hill. It starts off as a little pea at the top of the hill, but the further it gets down, the bigger the snowball gets. Now everybody in the gym knows what you do and how you work. Like, everybody knows that you are the person who solves this problem. But here's the best thing, right? Now there's a new member that comes in. Steve. Steve comes through the door. And you're the first to welcome him. You introduce yourself exactly the same way. Hi, Steve. My name is such and such. I'm a coach. I'm a coach here, and I help postnatal women regain their body confidence and strength without feeling nervous about exercising again. Now, Steve is not your ideal client, right? But guess what? Steve replies, that's amazing, because my wife just gave birth to our first son only 6 weeks ago, and she is desperate to get back into shape. I've tried getting her to come with me to the gym, but she's just too nervous. Can I book her in to speak with you? Can you see how that works? Can you see how powerful that is? You don't have to just talk to that person. You don't have to go and talk to all the Jessicas. You can talk to everybody about what you're doing, because everybody knows somebody who wants that help. Yeah? But because you're so specific with the message that you're giving, then you become known for that thing that you solve. And then Steve goes straight away, yeah, you want to go and work with such and such because this is what they specialise in. I've spoken to her, I've spoken to him. They're amazing people. They've got a really good personality. They've got loads of clients. You definitely want to be with that person. So who are people going to turn to? So then say another Jessica comes into the gym. Is she going to go and work with you, or is she going to work with another personal trainer? No, she's going to work with you because you specialise in that area. Yeah, this is how you work online as well. You do exactly the same thing online. You just take that concept and you go online and you solve a specific problem. You talk about that specific problem. Your content becomes about that specific problem. This is why you've got to kind of really look at what it is that problem is that you want to solve. What problem do you want to solve? That's my challenge to you now. What problem do you want to solve? What is it? Because that is what's going to really excel your business, your confidence, and your ability to be an awesome coach. And that's what it's all about. Personal trainers just getting straight into the industry, they do the same thing. The first thing to do is to start doing classes. Probably outside, which is generally common, especially if the weather's good. And they just try to get loads of people into a class, which is fine because it does give you experience, right? And it gets you interacting and it does get you building relationships. But imagine you've done that now. Imagine it was outside and you said, well, I'm going to start an outside class for over 40s men. Or I'm going to start a class for kids from between the ages of 8 and 16. Can you see how specific that's getting? As opposed to, well, I'm just going to do a class. Great. Who's coming to the class? I don't know. Anybody who turns up. There's no reason for people to join your class. They can go anywhere and get a fitness class, but they can't go anywhere for someone who works specifically with a man who's over 40 years old. Because guess what? You get to understand everything and all the problems of a man who's over 40, or if you're working with women over 50 with menopausal symptoms, you get to know everything about that problem. You become the best at solving that problem. Now, I know what you could be thinking here. You could be thinking, well, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one specific problem because I want to know everything about health and fitness and everything like that. But here's the thing that a lot of people miss. It's you will always encounter different types of problems. Like if you think about weight loss is just weight loss, but that postnatal woman still wants weight loss. No, the guy who is over 40 still wants weight loss. So you're still learning about weight loss and energy balance and these types of things, and you learn about strength and all that type of thing. The difference is the problems are different for different people, and what you'll probably do is you'll inadvertently attract similar type of people. So for example, like if you go back to that postnatal woman, yeah, you work with postnatal women, does that mean that anybody who hasn't had a baby is not going to work with you? Of course not, because other women are going to see that you getting other women in amazing shape, so they're going to approach you as well. So they might never have had a baby, it doesn't matter. The point is they're still going to approach you because they can see what you're doing, they can see the difference that you're having in somebody else's life. It's the same as if you say, well, I specialize in, I help athletes. Does that mean somebody from a non-athletic population isn't going to work with you? Of course not. Like at the very beginning of my career, I work with a lot of athletes, but I work with the general population as well because they're seeing what I was doing with athletes and they're wanting to be part of that. They loved the fact that these athletes were getting stronger, faster, more confident, and they wanted a piece of that. Yeah, so you're not pigeonholing yourself into one thing. All you're doing is you're calling out a specific problem, then you can go away and solve that problem. And then you will encounter lots of problems along the way, and you keep knocking these problems out. You keep solving these problems. You become better and better and better, and ultimately you get better results with the clients that you get. So that is how you get 15 clients into your business. Yeah. Now, if you came onto this and hoping that was going to be a quick fix strategy, like there is no quick fix strategies. There's not. It's all about constant progress and growth. Understanding what you do, understanding how you serve people to the best of your ability. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that created some insights for you. If it was, then let us know. If there's, if there's anything you'd like us to go into more depth with, then I would love to do that too, because I just want you to get as much value as you can from this. I want you to be able to take things away from it that you can start implementing into your career, into your business, whatever it is that you are building right now. Yeah, because it all starts with you. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate your time, and let's go and get that done. Yeah, let's go and start getting some awesome clients into your business. Thank you for listening today. If you got some value from this, then please play it forward to someone else so they can continue to improve their life, expand their awareness, and use these tools to help them grow. So make sure you copy and paste the link and share with a friend who you think would find it very interesting. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button right now on Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you're listening from, and leave us a rating or review, because every time you get a rating or review, it helps us improve the quality of the show. But more importantly, it helps us spread our message to impact more lives and help more people. And that's what I'm all about, impacting more lives so we can grow and be successful in our own right. So thank you for sharing your time with me today. And remember, everything that has happened so far in your life has led you here. You have a mountain of value right beneath your feet that you can use to impact the lives of others. This is your superpower. And as always, don't be afraid to think differently and never give up on your dreams.